The Greensboro Science Center is a real gem for Greensboro, and animal discovery is a big part of the sparkle. Right outside, kind of in the backyard of the Greensboro Science Center, you're going to go on an amazing adventure with animals, plants, and all kinds of fun, only limited by your imagination. It's Turtle TV, our first stop in the Greensboro Science Center's zoo. Outside, Glenn Dover goes again. So what makes these guys special?
Well, look at him. He's acting like a dog right here. He wants his neck scratched. He's just an incredible animal. They live 150 years. It tells you what a vegetarian diet and a slow motion lifestyle can do for you. But they're just amazing animals. They really are. Coming from the Aldabra, Seychelles Islands area, Aldabra tortoises, and they were the first animals we got when animal discovery was being expanded, very first animals. And this guy right here, Jack, was probably about a third of this size. And so in a matter of about 6 years, he's grown a lot, doing extremely well, very popular, very gentle with the visitors, just a great ambassador for reptilian life.
How many do you have here?
We actually have 4 of the Aldabra tortoises and 1 spurred tortoise somewhere in here. He's actually right behind you. Yeah, he's saying hello. And, they'll live their lives out here. I mean, this Jack, I believe, is about 21 years old. So he's just a youngster. Imagine, being 21 years old and still being an infant. It's pretty cool.
The meerkats might be the most entertaining animals in the zoo.
Yeah, when we, survey people about what really draws you out here, gibbons, meerkats, and tigers seem to win every time. And how can they not? I mean, look at that. Look at that face up there. That's the sentry right now. He's looking out for planes and hawks and vultures.
Screaming children.
Screaming children. Absolutely. He doesn't seem to care about them so much. And the rest of the family, is down foraging for food and looking for grubs and worms right now. So it really is a great family relationship. And if you haven't seen it yet, we also have a meerkat musical here where you can actually be surrounded by meerkats in a very Broadway-esque kind of way.
They have amazing voices, really, they do.
Voices. I mean, we train them extremely well. So if you haven't seen that, you need to see that too.
What do you like about the meerkats?
I like how they are small and that they feed on insects.
Do you like to get in tunnels?
Yes, I like to get in tunnels a lot.
So are you kind of like a meerkat?
Yes, and I also pretend that they are mining tunnels.
The red panda is one of the newest animals here at Animal Discovery. What is he?
Well, he's a panda. What do you think? What he is? Well, they're probably mostly closely related to raccoons. Most people think panda, they think the giant panda, of course. This is a much, much smaller cousin of that species. But obviously a beautiful animal, very rare. We're going to be building a much larger, much more extensive habitat for a breeding program. They're extremely endangered in the wild. We want to be a leader in that program. And there's a great ambassador for Asian animals that are being pushed into the brink of extinction from land loss.
So where would he normally live?
Pretty much Southeast Asia, in China area, Southeast Asia, Thailand, and but now we get to bring him to our wonderful climate here and build a brand new habitat for him, and finally, hopefully find a girl for him, and then magic will start to happen beyond that. But we're just so proud to be breeding red pandas here eventually, because it is a focal point for international conservation at the highest level. But it is not a giant panda, it's a red panda.
And what girl wouldn't love that face, really?
Exactly. I mean, what guy either, for that matter. When he came to us, he was very young, and he still almost had that, pup look to him. And so even as he matures and gets older, that is just one precious, amazing animal. Look at that. I mean, it truly is incredible. Someday I hope to eventually go see one in the wild, but I'm not sure that day will ever happen.
Oh, wow.
Got the shot.
All right, you have to meet Duke. He has got a great story. Glenn, what's his story?
Well, it starts out kind of sad because, he was found in the exhibit almost lifeless by one of our senior keepers, Amanda, and she immediately grabbed him up. We weren't sure what the problem was. Took him back to the hospital here on the site, warmed him up, and we were trying to figure out what was going on. He did respond. The vets immediately came out, and we got him going, and he was looking at us, and he was, a viable infant. Then we tried to reintroduce him back to mom very shortly thereafter, but she wasn't producing any milk. She was rejecting him, basically. We weren't sure why, but she did.
That happens.
But it happens, exactly, a lot. And so then our staff spent 4 months raising him. And here's the crazy part. They had to wear this big kind of gorilla-like cape at all times so he could grab on like gibbons do. And imagine having him on you all the time, sleeping in a recliner, so he's kind of inclined on your belly, feeding him every 2 hours, and doing that for 4 months. I guess moms in general probably you're pretty used to that, but
Sounds familiar.
But this is a gibbon, and he wants to nibble on you, he wants to kind of rub your face, pick your nose, all kind of stuff, and so he's just doing what he does. But after 4 months, and also on top of that, we had great help from Cone Hospital. Cone Health was great. They sent nurses over, preemie nurses, and did amazing things helping to raise him during the day, so the keepers should do their work. And then we introduced him back to the parents, which could have gone really well, which it did, or could have gone really bad, because he at least thought he was a human, because he was raised by for 4 months. But he's integrated beautifully. He's becoming a gibbon. It's a success story all the way around. We could not be more proud of our staff, of Duke. There's only 2 Javan gibbon exhibits in the entire country right now, and to have a baby of this value and the storyline that goes along with him, it really is a special thing for Greensboro, and we could not be more proud.
And this is really kind of what you're trying to do here at Animal Discovery, and kind of the future of Animal Discovery too, is exactly what we're seeing behind us.
It really is. Every decision we make for animals moving forward is based on what we call SSP, Species Survival Plan. We want to be part of the breeding programs for the international species that need help in some form or fashion. And so everything we're focusing on in the next step, pygmy hippos, okapi, mandrills, clouded leopards, tigers, all part of those programs that we can do here, bring great science to the field, but also have an amazing exhibit, amazing experiences for our visitors.
This is a really interesting creature. Glenn, what is he?
It's called a fusa. Very few people know what this is, but if you've seen the movie Madagascar, you'll definitely know it's the bad guy in the movie. But so few people have ever seen them. We were blessed to be able to get this young solitary male here, and he's just an odd animal that's the only true predator of lemurs out in the wild of Madagascar. And if you look at that body, that conformation, kind of a face of a cat, the body of a weasel, and the tail of a monkey. And he's perfectly adapted to chase lemurs in the trees, catch them, and feed his family. So it's just very, very rare to see these guys, and we're just so blessed to have them here at the Greensboro Science Center. And then maybe someday, maybe, who knows, since they're so solitary, we could find a girl for him and maybe have some baby fusa.
And the lemurs are right next door. Is that a problem?
Well, everyone seemed to think it would be up front, but we didn't think it would be. These are all captive-born animals, so they don't know the wild. The first couple days, the lemurs were like, what's going on over there? But we could have put a rabbit inside this exhibit. They still would have, what's that over there? So he's absolutely fine with it. Neither one is threatened. They don't even pay attention to each other much anymore. As long as he has food, he's happy.
He's paying attention to us, though, that's for sure.
Yes. He thinks I have food, I think.
Oh, okay.
That's a cool shot.
This is a can't-miss spot for most every visitor who comes to the Greensboro Science Center. The tigers, brother or sister tigers?
Brother and sister, yes, but they get along great. And who, doesn't want to be literally a few inches from a tiger's face? Actually, some people may not want to be, but we love it. I mean, they're such amazing, majestic animals. Just to look in their eyes, it takes you back to a different time, a different era. They're just such a powerful species, and to be able to know we can introduce them to people all over our community, to tigers and tiger conservation, it really is a special thing. And this exhibit, evolved over time. Originally, that building kind of behind us over here was the entire exhibit for jaguars. We were able to expand it out, make it much larger, make it much better habitat, and a volunteer effort. That hammock right behind you right there was built by one of our volunteers. He said, I want to do something special for tigers, so we did it. You can't really see it from here. There's another platform in the back. It was just built last Friday by a local corporation that wanted to build something for them. So tigers definitely connect to people. They always want to help and do things, but here's the cool stuff. We get to build a brand new tiger habitat in the next phase for the Rainbow River Gorge. Totally different from this. This will probably become a South American style exhibit. That exhibit's gonna be raging waterfalls, high verticality, lots of areas for them to jump, lots of caves for them to see, not many areas for them to hide like they can in here, and the visitors will have an up-close view of them swimming in the water. So a totally different perspective and a much better habitat for the species.
A lot of people look at them and think they're kind of pacing. Are they happy here? Is this what they're supposed to be doing?
Well, tigers move miles per day. That's what they do. And so here, we just happen to be late in the day, guess what? Their stomachs are growling. They know that in literally about a half hour, the keeper's gonna be wheeling a big bucket down here full of meat. And so they're just anticipating that. If you come out here during other parts of the day, they might be resting on the rocks, maybe sleeping in the back. I mean, cats sleep 18 hours a day. So this is atypical simply because they're hungry.
The Maine wolves are another example of a big success for the Greensboro Science Center.
They really are. Not only is it a green and solar and sustainable exhibit, which is a huge coup for us, but also it's all for an endangered species, and we were able to breed them here pretty quickly. Building this, there's a lot of unknowns for us. They live in a grassy habitat of South America, and here this was mostly forest at the time, so we cleaned out some of the forest, made it much more grassy, but the question was building this ramp above their heads. We weren't sure if that would make them nervous or it would be conducive to breeding, that kind of stuff, but it turns out it actually was, because they're very linear in how they see things. They're on the ground, looking straight ahead like normal predators. Being above them doesn't seem to bother them. And so a lot of exhibits you find with the species, you're always looking in distances trying to see them. Here you can get right on top of them, look down on them, and look how calm they are right now. And on top of that, we were able to add a giant anteater to the exhibit, which lives in their native habitat, thinking that could be a problem. They could compete. He lives with them beautifully, and in fact, the anteater's probably in charge of anybody because he probably rules the roost, but he's so mellow, he sleeps most of the time. So we have a breeding group of Maine wolves, an anteater, in a really lush exhibit. It's a huge success for us.
Take it from me, your kids will not want to leave Animal Discovery until they visited the Friendly Farm, where they can visit, pet, and even brush some of the animals that live here at Animal Discovery. Animal Discovery is open every day of the year from 10 until 4, and it's part of your admission to the Greensboro Science Center. You can find out all about it and plan your visit by going to greensboroscience.org.